This is a short tutorial on how to use a diver's compass to follow a course, a magnetic bearing underwater, and also how to use it to follow a reverse bearing. So this is a typical wrist-mounted diver's compass, and I'm just going to point out a few features. We've got a black bezel around the outside, marked off in degrees 0 to 360 in 10 degree intervals, and as you can see, you can rotate this on the compass body. The glass face of the compass has this red line on it. This is known as the lubber line and is used to take bearings, and also is indicative of the direction of travel. I'll come back to that later. On the bezel we have two markers on it. We've got this small black triangle here, and on the opposite side we've got this sort of split triangle or arrow here. The compass dial itself is suspended in oil, floating, and it's free to rotate, and as I rotate the compass you can see that north always points in the same direction, in other words towards north. The dial itself has the four cardinal points, north, south, east and west, and is also marked out in degrees at 10 degree intervals as well. Okay, so just to give you an example how we use this, let's suppose that we have a bearing of 240 degrees that we want to follow. What we do is we turn 240 degrees here so that it lines up with the lubber line here. Like so. And now what we want to do is point the lubber line forwards in the direction that we want to travel, and rotate our body so that this arrow here lines up with magnetic north on the compass dial. So as I turn my body round, eventually I have north aligned with this arrow here. And if you look at the compass, you'll see that the compass dial also has 240 degrees underneath the lower line there. So this now is the direction in which we want to travel. Unfortunately this pencil that I'm using is slightly magnetic, so you might see the dial deviate a little bit as I move across it. But if we keep our bodies lined up with the lubber line and move in that direction, we'll be moving on a course of 240 degrees, which is around about southwest. Now, supposing we are doing a there and back dive, which is a fairly typical scenario, we can use the compass to calculate what our reverse course will be simply by looking at the opposite side of the compass and reading off the number there, and you can see that it's actually 60 degrees. So when we want to return at the midpoint of the dive, we simply turn the bezel round until we get 60 degrees lined up there. We now rotate ourselves around until we get the black arrow again pointing to north, like that. And now this is the direction in which we want to travel, and it's as simple as that. There is another feature on this compass, which is this window at the side, and you can read off the bearing here and hold the compass horizontally in front of you, and I find this method much easier to use because my eyesight is not terribly sharp, and I find it easier to follow the bearing using that method, but whichever you're most comfortable with. Okay, simple as that.